Next up is going to be our blend mask creation. So now that we have kind of this floating stump hand body that's simulating, it's really just a chest and, or half of a chest, a bicep, tricep, and a forearm. We've got this kind of odd mesh that has muscles simulating on it. And we want a way to very easily get that simulation data back onto our full bodied non-sim mesh. And we want flexibility in how we composite the two meshes together. So let's dive in and take a look at the network overview in our muscle sim complete file. Okay, so back inside Houdini, we are going to be recreating this network right down here in the bottom right. So let's zoom into it. And we've got two inputs here. We've got just the in asset skin rest. So essentially our Tommy character with the arms up, our adjusted rig pose right there. And then we've also got our simulation sim created mesh where we've made it watertight and we've kind of, cut it off of the rest of the body that we didn't want to simulate. And so the first two nodes are just bringing both of those guys in. And then we're using a distance from geometry node to create this mask right here. And we're essentially just doing here. Let's open this parameter tab. We are just masking the points on the full body from the partial points on this simulation body here. And then we are just converting that to a group selection and then expanding it. So you can see here, we could adjust the steps for how much we expand or contract. And this is actually shrinking it a bit. I believe it's at 0 right there. And we want it -4 right there. So, Houdini really does have a node for everything. This would be a process in Maya. But, this is just, they just have a node for it. It's just amazing. And then we're essentially, we want to create mask for this because the way a blend shape works is that you have, you have your base target, then you have a target for each additional shape that you have in that blend shape. So, if you have a smile target, if we're talking about facial blend shapes, you have a smile target, a frown target, all of that. And so let's say that you cut one of those blend shapes in half, where you have half the points on one side of the face doing a smile, half the points on the other side of the face doing a smile. There's going to be a couple of points in the middle of that line that share weight values. And the weights have to be normalized so that, when we do the right side of the face, we don't have a value of 1. And then the left side of the face, we have a value of 1 because that would equal a value of 2 on the point. So what we're doing right here on this attribute wrangle is just taking the selection mask right here and finding out everything, all the other points that are not part of the selection mask. And then we are, and that's going to allow us to basically say when we want to paint the character. So if I go in here into this paint, it's going to allow us to essentially, say which part of the mask for every point, how much of that mask is on the body and how much of that mask is on the arm right here. So that's basically what that is telling us. And so that will, these are going to be the weights for our blend shape. And so, if let's say this character is moving in through 3D space, right? We know that the arm as well as the body are going to be moving the exact same way through 3D space. And so depending on the weight value here, depending on whether it's part of the body mask or the arm mask, we want that distance, that movement to be normalized so that everything composites correctly in world space. So you can see I'm just putting that attribute on there to get the essentially figure out what the group of the arm is. We're blurring it right here just so that we can get a little bit more there. Like we basically reduced the selection and then we blurred it outwards, because if we were to blur it from that initial selection, this one right here, it would blur it. There wouldn't be information for that simulation area, because like you see, if we look at our simulation area, it ends right here. So we're grabbing the selection on the full body like this, but then we need to reduce the selection inward, and then we want to blur outward again like that. So when we do that, you can see that It's essentially not taking anything else past that area where we don't have simulation mesh. Now, if you were doing a full body character where you had the full, you know, all the arms, the torso, the legs, you know, and no head, no hands, no feet, then this area would be only on the neck, the wrist, and the ankles. But because we're not simulating kind of this whole chest area, that's why we're adjusting the mask like this. And then also we've got just a paint area mask node in here, just in case we wanted to add any, just some smoothing, just some edits right there in case the procedural paint mask didn't really do the trick. Okay, cool. So that's good there. And then lastly, we're taking that that mask body that we created up here. We are taking that and we're figuring out, or sorry, we're taking the mask arm that we created up there and we're putting that into the mask body attribute here. So that's basically taking all this information, this weight information of whether it's part of the mask arm or past, you know, whether it's the mask body, and then it's putting it in that other attribute so that it's normalized. So you can see here, it's kind of hard to see. There's some mask arm there. It's so tiny. But yeah, it's normalizing like right there. You can see like that. Okay. And that normalization is going to help when we go to composite both of these things back into world space. So again, this is just the blend mask creation. We're going to use these values that we're creating right here, the mask arm or the mask body, to feed into our blend mask composite network over here that we'll do in a later video.